Hi there, it's Ed Robinson, and I want to go over, and I'm going to go over some of the things that are happening in real estate, what we can do, what we can't do, what has the coronavirus done with the real estate business, and how long will it last. I'll answer all the questions that I possibly can. I'll be quoting a lot of the answers from the Real Estate Council of Ontario on what our instructions are through the government, considering that we are an essential service. That's because there's things in real estate, documents that must be signed and so forth, so we can't stop doing that. Alrighty, so I'm going to put some of the questions up on the screen here, and then I'm going to describe what we can and can't do about those things. So these are the major questions that I'm getting asked by folks. So here we go with the first one right now.
Are realtors allowed to hold open houses? It would sound like a pretty simple question to answer, but as of April the 4th at midnight on Saturday, real estate brokerages, brokers, and salespeople must cease immediately hosting and attending open houses. No open houses anymore. I don't have a problem with that. I think they're a waste of time anyways. I haven't had one in over 30 years. So the only way that I would like open houses are if it's an agent's open house to go and look at to see it's what the buyers might be looking for. So anyways, no open houses, totally against the law. Are realtors allowed to show homes to buyers? RICO strongly recommends that brokers and salespeople follow the direction of health officials by limiting showings to situations where they are absolutely necessary. When would that be? My home is sold. I have to get another home. I'm going to be desperate. If I don't, I'm going to be in a hotel room. I guess that would be a situation. I think this is where we have to look at each individual one. When someone says, I need to buy a house, okay, fine. Why? And if there is a really good, serious reason where they need to have something to live in, then by all means, then we have to proceed. So I think we have to handle that on an individual basis.
Okay, so what about short-term rentals? Well, specifically on that, government has also added requirements for short-term rentals. After April the 4th, 2020, they can only be provided to individuals who need housing in a state of emergency. We really don't, at least I don't get too involved in short-term rentals anyways, but I guess where there's a situation just like showing a home to buyers, should you or not, it depends on the situation. Is there an urgency for a short-term rental? So only if it's necessary. Other than that, no short-term rentals.
Okay, how do we handle personal contact? Well, it's better not to have any personal contact. Some of the recommendations, well, we really electronic signatures so we don't have to meet in person to sign paperwork. If there's amendments and so forth to be done. There's other things too that are well suggested. Um, like we mentioned open houses earlier. Well, we can do 360-degree walkthroughs. We can do videos of the property. And as I said, electronic documents, electronic funds can be transferred now. Deposits can recommended that not to use checks, to actually use electronic fund transfers. And any other things that can be done on a smartphone or some way technically is better than in person. Better to not even meet in person right now until the restrictions are lifted. So those are the rules right now, is to deal mostly electronically if possibly can. Virtual tours, no open houses, but an agent can do a walk through the house, have photographs done. Again, there's a gray area there. But anyways, if those are done, then we can do a virtual tour very easily. Okay?
Is the public allowed to list their home for sale? Yes, of course you can list your home for sale. Nothing's stopping you that, but you have to understand it's not a normal market. You won't be getting the normal services you might expect. And those will have to be discussed individually by the agent. I would have to sit down with you and describe what you can do, what we can't do, and so forth. So nothing against listing the home for sale, but it's getting the showings virtually some way in order to let the public see the home. And then can they buy it? Yes, they can, but they probably want to buy it with conditions in it. So anyways, that can be discussed, but again, there's so much detail to it that it couldn't be discussed here in the short term. What about homes with tenants? Well, that's going to be a whole different situation. It's a point where you had better be pretty sure that these buyers are really serious about the house. And then we have to look at the tenants. Are the tenants going to allow us to show the home? That can be difficult at the best of times, and it can be a lot worse. It will be a lot worse now because as a tenant, I'm not sure I would let somebody in my home. So, and then of course you'd have to check with the landlord and tenant boards act, and make sure that you can actually do much about it, and I doubt that you can. So it couldn't be a problem. If you have agreeable tenants, they're moving and they're okay with it, they want to leave the house while you're showing it or something, then you'd have to make arrangements. It's going to be difficult with tenants, there's no doubt about it, but not everything's impossible. Some things might work out okay. It just depends on the tenants that you're dealing with. Okay, the next question, can the public insist on using paper documents rather than electronic ones? Yes, you can. You can insist on it, but the agent doesn't have to agree to it. So we're not forced to take a paper document. We simply say, I'm sorry, I can refuse taking the listing. Are there ways around it? Possibly a courier to you, paper documents, videos, doing things personally through video, someone witnessing it. It's going to be very difficult. So in my books, electronic signatures, safest, simplest, and easiest way to do it. No, you don't have to worry about software. As long as you have a web browser, you're on the internet, like that, you can sign a document. So everybody that's always scared, oh my gosh, I've never done it electronically. Every time they've done it, they say, wow, that was easier than I thought it was going to be. So I really emphasize electronic documents, absolutely. Let's see, can a seller decline to allow showings but allow buyers to make offers conditional on a satisfactory showing? Yes, of course you can. Matter of fact, that's probably the way that you'd have to do it anyways. Unless it was a vacant property, and if it was a vacant property that the agent, I would put things at the door like cleanser, sanitizer, and so forth so people could use it. That would be a possibility, but again, this is only if it's necessary. Someone needs to buy a house, they've looked at it online and so forth, okay? But if the seller says no one's getting in this house until this COVID-19 is done, then we have to abide by that. But you could still buy it conditional on inspection, conditional on financing, and conditional on a home inspection done. So those things would probably happen, and I think they're likely to happen in this market. Now the next question says, what about home inspections, photography, room dimensions? What are the current recommendations? Well, what I have to do here is really read to you what we've been told by the Real Estate Council of Ontario. There's no clear alternative to certain in-person aspects of a real estate trade, such as home inspection, measuring the property, confirming dimensions prior to the listing. What does RICO recommend? And they cover it very nicely by saying that these sort of situations are rapidly being evolved. There's no direct answer to some of them. We have to work as professional as we possibly can. And as things are developed, answers to these and other questions, we'll provide them to our clients, buyers, and sellers when the time comes that we have the answers to those also. So those are some looming questions that have to be answered yet before we can make a decision on how we want to do it. In the meantime, we really do the best that we can in order to make it as easy as possible for our clients that do have to sell or buy in this current market. Thank you very much for watching this. I hope it was a help, and I also just want to give a short thank you to the Ontario Real Estate Association and Tim Hudak for their team on all the work that they have done with the government in order to get us the answers that we need to continue doing what we do.